Yeah, when I got back from Mexico, I had to be very tunnel vision and I had to tune a lot of stuff out
Mhm.
because it's like a survival tactic. I feel like a lot of times I was more aware of what was going on in the US when I was outside the US than being in the US. It's like being here in it, it's almost like I have to tune a lot of stuff out. I have to focus on my piece. And there's just a lot of things that I'm like, me being like so caught up in this, it's nothing I can do about this.
Right.
Me stressing out about it is not going to help anyone. It's just going to make me sick. And so I've had to really tune a lot of stuff out and just be very tunnel vision and focus on my piece.
So, when it comes to balance, right? How does that look? Because most creatives, right, that are just either starting out or haven't made it big, they have other things going on. It may be a 9 to 5, or it may be a part time job, and it may be, taking care of family or children. How do you keep your balance, like between your passion and also, what may not be your passion, but you have to do it anyway? How are you able to keep that work life balance, but stay committed to your passion?
So now, so after I did my sabbatical in Mexico, my vow to myself was to never take another job that is one of those toxic work environment,
Okay.
extremely stressful jobs. And so that's what's been very helpful is me only taking jobs that I can have clarity because when a job is so stressful, it's like it kills your creativity.
Yes.
And it just really makes it to where you don't have any mental capacity for anything outside a job. It's like the only thing you want to do outside a job is rest and sleep, is depressing you and all that stuff. I can't take jobs like that anymore because there's too much things that I need to think about outside of a job. And I need my energy for outside of a job. So I think my number one advice for anyone is to make sure that you have a job that doesn't just zap all your energy. And I mean, just not just for your creativity, but for your health as well, to not take those type of jobs. So the jobs I've had since I've come back from Mexico have been ones to where if I need time off, I can take that time off. If I need to flex my schedule, if I just need to take off early because I want sleep or whatever, if I need to take off early because auditions are later on that evening. When I did my table read, I took off that day. I
Mhm.
never had situations with my current job that they told me I couldn't take off or I couldn't take care of other things. So making sure you have the right 9 to 5.
Okay. And to tag on to that, how are you able to manage through all the chaos that this country is currently experiencing? I know this is probably a great outlet for you, but is there ever a time like it affects you, or do you just keep your focus?
Yeah, when I got back from Mexico, I had to be very tunnel vision and I had to tune a lot of stuff out
Mhm.
because it's like a survival tactic. I feel like a lot of times I was more aware of what was going on in the US when I was outside the US than being in the US. It's like being here in it, it's almost like I have to tune a lot of stuff out. I have to focus on my piece. And there's just a lot of things that I'm like, me being like so caught up in this, it's nothing I can do about this.
Right.
Me stressing out about it is not going to help anyone. It's just going to make me sick. And so I've had to really tune a lot of stuff out and just be very tunnel vision and focus on my piece. And I think a lot of Black women have been doing that. They
Not
say we,
enough. I can't believe I have family members where I am right now in the South, and every house I walk into, CNN, MSNBC, 24/7. And yeah.
I think sometimes we feel like, well, I'm being informed, and we don't realize we're tearing apart our mental health and just constantly feeling on edge. And I feel like I briefly tune in to kind of just know what's going on, and that's about it. I think years ago, probably before my sabbatical, I used to have CNN on a lot. I used to wake up and have the news on as I was getting ready for work,
Mhm,
and then there's the talk radio on
mm,
the radio as you're driving into work. It's just constantly being fed things, and I can't do that anymore. I'm so much at more peace. I feel so much healthier. I just so
yeah.
much more clarity. And that's probably a lot of things like before the panorama. I know we can't say I forgot we can't even say that I may have said like 5 times. I forgot we're not even supposed
It's
to say
okay.
that. But before all that happened in 2020, I think I was so into like political news and things
Yeah,
of that nature. That probably killed a lot of my creativity. I feel like once I got back from Mexico, I had so many amazing ideas with well developed characters, and I was able to focus a lot more.
yeah. I totally agree. And part of the mission of this channel, which I didn't know was going to be a mission of this channel, is to one, encourage us to really live that serenity prayer. And if Christine, you want to go ahead and put it in the chat, we try to do that, every day. There's certain things we can control and there's other things we can't. And we need to only focus on the things we can and not the things we can't. And when you realize actually the live I did last night was all about media control and how media is designed to really shape our way of thinking, right? And so I'm glad to hear that you were able to first take a sabbatical and quiet the noise, but then also that it was able to birth like new ideas and new creative thoughts. And so I encourage everyone watching this, like that's a gem right there. I mean, she's already dropped so many gems, but this definitely aligns with, what I've been saying as far as turn off the news. And if you want to know what's going on, you choose what news you watch and try not to let it be these commercial news sources. Go to the Associated Press, go to national NPR, go to the sources that are not paid by corporate. And so yeah, so I see one of your friends in here. Hi, it says minding my black ass
Hey.
business. Long time listener, first time commenter. Hey, I know
Mhm.
Sonia from these expat streets in Mexico. Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
I just want to see if there's any more questions before we get to. I think there's one more question. Well, I actually have another question for you. When it comes to all the changes that are happening with DEI, right, and Black stories in media, are you sensing opportunity or are you sensing decline from the conversations that you're having? Do you think there's a space for more stories to be told, or do you think they're going to try to quiet our stories?
I feel like in the independent filmmaking community that there are a lot of hunger and um, just a lot of demand for our stories, for people of color, for those marginalized people, for their stories. So I've been hearing nothing but people saying, yes, that's great. You're a
Oh, thank
Black
you.
woman filmmaker. Like everyone's wanting this now. Like we even look at Tubi, and a lot of people, I don't know why people have a lot of bad stuff to say about Tubi when Tubi gives
I've
so,
never watched it. I've never watched anything on
Tubi
TV, but
gives so many opportunities to um, specifically, to Black independent filmmakers. Now, that being said, there are some films on there that aren't the best quality, but there's also a lot of films on there that are some good quality. And so a lot of times, people, it's funny how for so long people said like, well, Black people, we have to make our own films. And when we started to do it, and a lot of places like maybe Netflix or wherever wouldn't give us a home there because Netflix, their standards and everything, just, their barrier of entry is going to be a lot higher than getting on Tubi. And
Right.
then once a lot of independent Black creatives start to get on Tubi, then everyone's like, oh, like Tubi is low quality and Tubi, and that's a Tubi movie. I'm like, yeah, you're going to find some movies on Tubi that the quality is not good, but you're going to also find some movies on there that the quality is amazing, or just some stories that you wouldn't be able to see on Netflix.
Okay.
So I do feel like there is a demand for our stories now in the independent space. Now, I don't know how easy it is for someone who wants to break into something and be a blockbuster screenwriter and have a blockbuster film. I mean, that would be wonderful if one day I would get there. And maybe I won't ever get there. But even if I didn't, I feel like being an independent filmmaker, there's a space for us. There's money to be made in being an independent filmmaker, and there's streaming services that give us a home.
Yeah.
Our conversation with Sonia Unapologetic, also known as Sonia Staley, was nothing short of inspirational. If you're doing something that you hate, stop it. If you have the desire to do something creative, do it. You can catch the full video, and here's another video you may like.